Welcome back to Divorced After 50. I'm your host, Sherry Frazier, and today we're exploring an essential aspect of aging gracefully, comprehensive wellness services that support both physical and mental well-being. I'm here with DG Linton Gridley with Aging with Grace to discuss how these services can transform your journey after divorce and during this new chapter of life. Welcome, DG. We're diving into something truly special, a personalized wellness experience that's all about you.
Thank you, Sherry. I'm excited to delve into this topic. Imagine having a wellness map tailored just for you, created by a nurse and your personal physician in collaboration. It's like a roadmap for your health journey. And each day, you can enjoy a delicious breakfast and a fabulous dinner party. Plus, there's our delightful segment, Tea and a Tale Time, where you can unwind and enjoy some great stories. And the best part? If you attend 4 or more days a week, you get a weekly spa treatment to really rejuvenate. It's a holistic approach to wellness that starts here. You'll discover checkpoints designed to enhance your experience along the way. There's the Move to Improve program focused on activities that boost your stamina and strength. And the fun and games times? It's all about staying active while having a blast. Plus, you'll have regular medical tests and screenings to keep track of your health and staying proactive. And let's not forget the nutritional offerings. Delicious breakfasts, dinners, and refreshing snacks will keep you fueled. There's even a focus on mental activities to keep your mind sharp and creative in a relaxed atmosphere.
Wow. Sign me up. That just sounds wonderful to me. I read that you offer personal care and spa treatments to pamper yourself. So there is nurturing both body and mind.
Oh, yes. It's so important to take care of ourselves. And I don't know about you, but in our current culture, in my life, I often neglect myself. And if you join the Health Club for Seniors, it's part of the program.
Oh, great. So tell us about the incredible journey toward holistic wellness. Let's start with the foundation. Skilled nursing services. How do these services play a role in enhancing wellness for individuals after 50?
Well, it's always best to be proactive, of course, and we do regular tests and screenings for our members. As I mentioned earlier, full-time attendance, that's 4 or more days a week, includes a spa treatment. It also includes what we call weekly vitals, so blood pressure checks, bowel and bladder sounds, heart rate. We look at people's eyes and ears, and if they are prone to high sugar, we can use the glucose monitor.
Is this something that you typically would find that your health insurance would cover?
Unfortunately, Medicare does not cover this if someone purchased long-term care insurance. So the Health Club for Seniors, I conceived of this because I saw people who did not prepare for growing older, and then they crashed and burned when they had a health event. And they went into the hospital and they came out not being able to do certain things, and they often ended up in a nursing home. And so the Health Club for Seniors is a program to prevent that, and our government hasn't caught up with it yet. Health insurance companies haven't caught up with it yet. Medicaid, surprisingly, will pay for it, and long-term care insurance will pay for it, but there has to be, again, it's retroactive. It's after someone has experienced an adverse health event so that they have a loss of what are called activities of daily living. So they're not able to walk or dress themselves or bathe or eat, or if they have dementia, that trumps all of the activities of daily living. So currently, the only reimbursement happens when someone's already sick. But I'm thinking that if people would come in their 50s once every few months and just get their medical records, get the wellness map together, and that's only $100, and it's good for the year. It's a yearly fee because the nurse has to do a lot of work to get this wellness map together. She collaborates with your personal physician and gets your medical records and so forth. And so every few months you could just come in, and we have an hourly rate. It's only $16 an hour, and you could have the nurse check your vitals and update her with any communications about screenings that you've had recently with your doctor and so forth. And then in somebody's 60s, they should come a little bit more often and see the nurse and maybe participate in an exercise class once a week. And then in one's 70s, they should probably stay the whole day, a couple days a week, and benefit from the socialization and the nurse updating their records and tests and screenings and so forth. And then in one's 80s, a few more days a week. When one is in one's 90s, I think they should come every day.
Yeah. So how do they typically get there if, let's just say that they are disabled and can't?
In Lexington, we have wonderful alternative transportation. We have wheels, which if someone came every day, it would only be $65 a month. And we have ITN of the Bluegrass, which is very dignified transportation in a private vehicle. It's a little bit more expensive depending on where you live. They charge by the mile. And so both of those are able to help people in and out of their homes and in and out of the car, and they walk people to the door. But there's also Uber, of course.
I love the idea of Move to Improve and fun and games times. It just sounds like that it would be just a lot of fun. How do these activities contribute to building stamina and strength?
Every day we have it scheduled into our program, and on Mondays it's aerobics, on Tuesdays and Thursdays it's strength training, on Wednesdays it's mobility exercises, and on Friday it's balance training. But people need to do more than just that 1 hour of aerobics on Mondays. I'm hoping that by people participating on Mondays, they'll go home and do it or go somewhere else and do it. Also, because aerobics should be done every day, really. We need to get our steps in. But the strength training is good because you need a day in between using your muscles, resistance training, and we all need resistance training. So the 2 days a week are good, but 3 days a week would be even better. Again, I'm hoping people will go somewhere else to do it. And mobility exercises, those can be done every day. Yoga's great, chair yoga. And Friday's balance training, that's something that I encourage people to do in their daily lives while they're waiting in the grocery store line or in the bank or while they're doing dishes, to stand on one leg and barely touch something to hold their balance, and do that often, because the more you do it, the better your balance will become. As we grow older, we lose something called proprioception. We just don't have the same ability to judge where we are in space, how far we are from things. And I don't know if you've noticed, I don't know how old you are, listener, but I started noticing it when I was in my 50s, and I'm aware of it now, and that helps. But balance training helps too with that.
Yeah, I do a lot of that in my Pilates practice. That is things that they really focus on, and I really enjoy that. And I also do some chair yoga at home.
I love chair yoga.
I do too. And I think that all of that, just really contributes to balance and flexibility and the things that we need, muscular strength and those things. But to have it in an environment like this, it sounds like it could be a lot more fun than doing it yourself at home. And then the fun and games times, those activities that you do that just, are more exercise driven, but it's also fun, and it's not like you're having to work out or...
Right. The ones in the morning are led by an instructor, and they're pretty structured, but the ones in the afternoon, they're designed to just be fun and games. So we have, Monday's basketball, and that's all from a chair because we don't want anyone to fall. Balloon volleyball is Wednesday. Thursdays are mind-body games. Have you ever tried doing like the hokey pokey recently?
Not in a long time.
You will be surprised, because as we get older, our mind and our body aren't connected the same way that they used to be. So when the caller says, put your right arm in and shake it all about, sometimes that you have to think about it a minute. Let's see, right arm shake, put your booty in and all that.
Right.
it's challenging, and we do.
I bet there's a lot of laughing going on.
Yeah. I really enjoy it. We do the hokey pokey and the Macarena and the chicken dance and the bunny hop.
Oh, yeah.
And Friday is cornhole. That's the favorite.
Great. That sounds like so much fun. So let's kind of shift to the nutrition part of it. Tell us a little bit about your nutritional meals.
Well, our biggest meal is what we call our dinner party. And of course, we call it a dinner party because there's a lot of people there and we're eating at the same time. And currently, because our membership is so small, we go to different restaurants. But of course, each meal is tailored to the individual's dietary requirements. So if anyone can't have salt, or they have a high blood pressure and so they need to limit their salt intake, we make sure that the meal doesn't have much salt, and the same for sugar and oils and fats and so forth. We always include a vegetable or two and a fruit and a certain amount of protein. That's something I've noticed as people get older, they don't eat enough protein.
No, we don't. And it's so difficult. I mean, you wouldn't think that it would be because protein is abundant, but I find myself not.
Well, I just don't want to eat that much. Right. Yeah. Naturally, we like the starchy things better, I think, and the sweet things better. And we're full, and we just don't want to eat the protein. So I've listened to podcasts about dietary requirements, and I've learned that you need to eat your protein first so that you get that out of the way, or else you won't eat enough.
Maybe I need to do that instead of eating, because I'm one of those people that I eat everything. I don't just eat one thing at a time. I know people that do, and to me it's strange, but that you're right, that does make sense. So I'm sure that there is a lot of mental activities too
to improve our cognition. Yes,
instead of just it being exercise and fun activities like that,
for mental stimulation and to sharpen our thinking skills, we plan 2 clubs. We call them club meetings into the day. So each club meeting is pre-planned, and usually there's one where we're using our hands and making something, and then the other one is maybe a game, a mental game, or a learning activity. For example, we have gardening club, and gardening club could be arranging flowers. People have been known to donate fresh flowers to us, and we love that. But we also have artificial flowers that we arrange. Or gardening club could be decorating a pot. In the spring, we like to do that. We paint pots, and then we plant a seed in that pot, and we have nice raised bed gardens outside, and we plant our seedlings in the raised beds and see whose tomato plant grows the fastest.
That's nice. Be a lot of fun. So it promotes a lot of social interaction, which is very important in mental health. Like you said, the older you get, the more often you need to come.
Loneliness is a killer. It causes clinical changes in the body, negative things, and also face-to-face interaction is the best way to slow the progression of dementia. So it doesn't prevent it necessarily, but it does slow the prevention because we have to fire on a lot of neurons to communicate with one another. And if people are alone all the time, that's not good. It speeds up the dementia. They've noticed that hearing loss, and they're not sure whether it's causation or correlation, but it's so prevalent that they think hearing loss does cause dementia somehow. They're not sure.
That's interesting.
It's kind of similar to loneliness, though. If you're not hearing somebody, you're not communicating, you're not talking, you're isolating yourself. So we need to communicate.
That's very interesting. Those are things that I hadn't really thought about. The idea of personal care and spa treatment sounds wonderful, of course. I love a good spa treatment. And how does this service contribute overall to wellness?
As I said, a lot of people come to us after they've experienced this adverse health event. And so personal health, personal care is a challenge to them. Sometimes they're not able to wash their hair. They can't raise their hands above their head. We help them with that. We do manicures and pedicures, of course, because oftentimes those fall by the wayside when people have just gotten out of the hospital or quite advanced in years. And then we have this awesome spa tub that I spent way too much money on. It gives people a whirlpool, but it's just a nice, relaxing atmosphere. We can control the temperature. We can control the bubbles. It even has a light show that's supposed to be good for us, that infrared light. I don't understand it.
Right, yeah. I don't either, but I know that it is supposed to be very beneficial. Wow, it sounds like you've got everything there. Do you rely a lot on volunteers, or do these people do things in a volunteer, like people that do nails and your hair and stuff like that?
We don't rely on volunteers, but we appreciate them, and we're always happy. In the past, what I've seen is that people volunteer with us, and then we've been open for 9 years. So a couple of the people that volunteered with us when we first opened became members later.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it's great.
Getting back to the emotional impact of the divorce after 50, which is kind of what this podcast is all about. How do you see this phase affecting individuals, particularly regarding their mental well-being?
Well, of course, divorce at this stage can be especially tough, and many people face feelings of loss. I mean, really, it's grief, uncertainty, and fear about the future. It's crucial to find healthy outlets for these emotions, whether through therapy, support groups, or even engaging in hobbies that bring joy. Acknowledging these feelings is the first step to healing. And I always say, joys shared are joys doubled, and sorrows shared are sorrows cut in half. So being around people, they just help us whether we're grieving. And that's something else that happens. Divorce is like a death, really. I mean, you're losing this important person in your life, and sometimes that can feel like death. And death, I mean, a widow or a widower, they often crawl into their recliner and they're depressed, and they just stop getting out, and that's the worst thing for them. So if they come to the Health Club for Seniors, Aging with Grace's Fountain of Youth Clubhouse, we can help them get out there and combat that depression.
It's just for men and women?
Yes.
Of course, this is a vital theme to our listeners, especially during the life-altering event like divorce. Are there things that you can advise that would help them maintain their independence?
Oh, my goodness, yes. They need to make a plan, and that's part of the wellness map. So there's a section in the wellness map that invites members. It's completely voluntary, but we encourage people to find an elder law attorney that they like and get all their documents together and make someone a power of attorney and someone their healthcare proxy. And they need to tell anyone who looks at the wellness map, first of all, of course, it's going to be our knowledge, but if they want someone else to know what's in there, they have to give their authorization for that person to be able to have the information shared with them. So they need to designate someone that they want to help them, and they need to tell everyone where they want to live as they get older, in case they're not able to speak for themselves, or in case somebody's not listening, like family members are bad about this. They think they know what's best, and they want to shove mom or dad into a facility. And if mom or dad don't want that, they need to make it legal, and they need to make a plan, and we can help them enact their plan, but first they have to make the plan.
Right. That's very good advice. There's, I guess, a lot of things in the community. There's some support that you probably could help people find those resources and connect with them.
Right. Because we've been in Lexington for 9 years, we know the resources that are out there and who's good at what and who's good at the other. And so we can connect people according to their individual needs and wants with the right resource locally.
That's wonderful, wonderful service. One of the things, too, that I think a long time ago you had mentioned that you help with home modifications and the practical stuff that people, so they can age in place and stay home.
Yes, that's very important. I always tell people that the least expensive place for you to live right now is where you live right now, especially if your house is paid for. And for most people in this later stage in life, they have paid for their house, and so it's less expensive to do the modifications to stay there, but sometimes not. I mean, everybody's individual and houses vary widely, so I encourage people to do a cost-benefit analysis, because it may be that it's just too expensive to do all the modifications necessary to age in place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true. Or what are just some practical things that they can do? Modifications or things that, that wouldn't be costly.
We install grab bars a lot. We install walk-in showers and tubs a lot. Wheelchair ramps, of course, and good lighting throughout the home, and of course decluttering. We know somebody that will help with decluttering. Currently, we're not decluttering experts, but we can put you in touch with someone that is.
I actually hadn't even thought about that, because I know when you've got a lot of stuff in your way and you're trying to keep your balance and maneuver through, you don't need to have a lot of stuff in the way.
Well, it's just not healthy or sanitary either.
Right.
Hard to clean around all that clutter.
One of the things that I hadn't thought about until I was looking at your page, but I know that smart home devices right now are really good to have, because, when you're
like Alexa.
Yeah. They can help you also monitor your health and your home for safety. But there is a little bit of concern that would make you a little lazy too, which we are very lazy humans right now, because of all the electronics, and we don't have to get up and do anything. But I can see where they would be an advantage, especially if you were wheelchair bound or had mobility problems.
Yes, there are assistive devices for just about everything.
So as we wrap up, what final thoughts and resources would you recommend for our listeners navigating divorce and aging? And this topic really applies to anyone that is 50 and beyond, and like you had mentioned. But, as this is a podcast about divorce, is there any other advice you'd like to share?
Yes. If you or your spouse, usually it's a spouse, have purchased long-term care insurance, when you get divorced, you want to make sure that is still in force and that you get to keep that. And that's part of the divorce settlement, because that is golden. I encourage everybody to buy long-term care insurance. It's okay to ask for help. I know there are a lot of podcasts out there about divorce, and you can always do research, but the more you know, knowledge is power. And it's good to get the money set aside before you actually leave. I have found I'm going through a divorce myself. So whether it's through counseling, support groups, or community resources, there are many avenues to explore. Talk to a lot of people and take your time in this transition. Self-care is vital.
Well, DG, this has been a great discussion. I've learned a lot, and just let us know how our audience can reach out and learn more about your services.
Well, thank you. That would be wonderful. And I always tell people they can call me. I think that's the easiest way. 859-539-2147. Of course, there's our website, agingwithgraceinfo.org. And if you want to just stop by, you're welcome to. It's better to call and make an appointment so I can have time to spend with you. But we're at 743 Allendale Drive, Lexington, Kentucky. And again, our phone number is 859-539-2147. And we'd love to connect with anyone interested in embarking on their wellness journey.
That's wonderful. And one thing I forgot to ask, is there a menu of services and the cost on your website, or is it individual plan?
It is on the website. We're currently redoing our website, and hopefully it'll be more user-friendly, more manageable. We're planning on having the prices on each page so that people don't have to search for it, because I know I don't like having to search for the price.
Yeah, that's good advice. And thank you, DG, for sharing your insights today. Divorce after 50 can be a challenging journey, but with the right support and resources, it can also be a time of growth and new beginnings. For our listeners, be sure to check out the resources DG mentioned. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and remember, you're never alone in this journey. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. See you next week.
Thank you, Sherry.